Hello?
¡Vámonos de una vez! ¡Dale! ¡A un lado!
Out in remote places, the danger isn't always obvious. A shallow grave in the desert, hidden shelters deep in the woods, and a man crawling with an axe at 4 in the morning. These weren't stories, they were recorded. If you came across something like this, would you stay or leave before it's too late? This unsettling footage comes from Rick, the creator, behind the YouTube channel Rick in His Van, where he records his life traveling across the country in a camper van. He converted himself. Rick moves from place to place, sharing not only his road trips, but also the realities of van life, including the good moments, the difficulties, and the practical lessons he has learned along the way. On October 26, 2023, Rick set out expecting another simple overnight trip, but this outing would be very different. This time he deliberately chose to camp in a woodland area known locally for its unsettling reputation. It was a personal challenge to spend an entire night alone in a place many people preferred to avoid after dark. What began as a calm and peaceful escape would slowly turn into one of the most disturbing experiences he had faced.
This is the Common. Now, I've been here before and shot a few videos here before, and a couple of other things that I've filmed here. It's only up the road for me, so it's a really easy place to come to, and it's lovely, and you can wild camp here, and you are allowed. I'm here, I'm just going to sit in the van, make myself something to eat, let it get a bit, and then I'm going to go off into the woods over there and see what we can find. Right, so this is home for the night. First things first, dinner. What have I got? Particularly exotic or gourmet hot dogs, frankfurters, but they do taste amazing. So I'm going to get those. Oh, I've got some crisps. I am missing a beer. That's the one thing I didn't bring, but I have got coffee. So that's the main thing. Things first, let me just take you outside. I haven't shown you exactly where we are and where the van is. This is it. This will be home for the night. This is it. Right, let's go get dinner on.
Rick parked his van in a remote clearing deep inside the forest, a location he had visited before and felt comfortable returning to. The air was cool and the woods were silent, the kind of stillness that only exists in complete isolation. At that moment, nothing seemed unusual. Feeling relaxed, he prepared a simple meal of hot dogs and buns, planning to eat before the nightfall. The atmosphere felt calm and steady, almost reassuring. There were no warning signs and no sense of immediate danger, just a quiet evening alone in the forest. But the calm would not last.
So, just going to tuck into these. I don't judge, I have made 4. I am a hungry man, but I am going to double up on the sausage inside the bun. No idea where on earth I'm going. I wish there was a path. Let's just go this way. Let's see where we're going. Right. Oh, hello. What's that? What is that in the woods there? Look, what's that? Oh, I think I found the church. That was easy. Ah, that's not a gate. That is a fence. Ah, there's the church.
Holding a flashlight, Rick decided to explore the nearby area. As he walked through the trees, he discovered a church partly hidden within the forest. The structure stood silently among the woods, adding to the eerie reputation of the location. While observing the surroundings, something suddenly changed.
Oh, right, let's go and have a look. Just check this out. I haven't come prepped with the best torch in the world. Oh yeah, look at that. What is a little church like that doing in the middle of the woods? What? Even got a little graveyard. And a shovel, random shovel. What is going on in this place? Chairs? In the middle of the woods? What's all that about? Sorry. Standing all over you. I'm going to come back here in the daytime and have a look. I'm going to come back here in the morning. Well, that's a good thumb now, isn't it? I look like that guy, don't I? Look. Here's Johnny. Speaking of church, I'm going to come back and check this place out in the morning when I can have a good look round. Because I've already tripped over and gone arse over tit. Bye, church. The hell is that? Hello? Hello? Hells. Did you see that? Or was that just me? Swear, this me. Oh, there was someone standing there. There was someone standing right here. I swear to God, there was someone standing right here by my gimbal. Right. Right, that's freaked me out a little bit, so I'm just gonna go. Shut up. Right, I'm not joking you, that's just slammed itself shut. I can't look it. I'm looking at. There's my gimbal. Getting out of here. I did not like that noise. Right, where am I going? I can't even see where I'm going.
Rick spotted a figure dressed entirely in black, standing motionless in the darkness. The person looked almost mannequin-like, completely still with their back turned toward him. Instinctively, Rick raised his flashlight and pointed the beam in that direction. In an instant, the figure disappeared. There were no visible footsteps, no sound of movement, and no clear path where the person could have gone. Whoever had been standing there seemed to vanish without a trace. Rick felt panic building as he tried to understand what he had just seen. He was sure someone had been there, yet the disappearance felt impossible to explain. He tried to reason with himself, wondering if it might have been a trick of the light or simply his eyes adjusting to the darkness. Then a loud bang echoed through the forest. The sudden noise startled him. Rick immediately checked a nearby metal gate along a fence line, thinking it might have produced the sound. But that explanation did little to calm his nerves. An uneasy feeling settled over him. Trying to relax, he returned to the van and prepared for the night, repeating to himself that it was probably nothing. Eventually, he fell asleep.
Right, there was a knock. There was definitely a knock. Someone was trying the van door handles as well. I'm going to turn the lights out. Someone was trying the van door handles. Okay, I heard a car pull up. There's definitely a car pulled up outside. I'm gonna have a look. Well, that was weird. I opened the van doors and then it's all quiet out there now, so I'm just gonna try and get myself back to sleep. I don't know who they were, but we're all locked up, so we're safe. They can't get in, hence why they were knocking. So 1:45 now, so try again. All right.
But the night was far from over. Around 1 in the morning, Rick suddenly woke to the unmistakable sound of someone testing the handles on his van doors. Before he could fully react, loud knocking followed. The sound was close and deliberate. Someone was outside. With his heart racing, Rick gathered the courage to look. When he opened the door, a car immediately reversed and drove away, disappearing into the darkness of the forest. The timing felt unsettling. It seemed intentional, as though whoever had been there did not want to be seen. Questions rushed through his mind. Who would approach a stranger's van in the middle of the night in such an isolated place? Trying to remain calm, Rick considered that it might have been someone lost or simply passing through. He closed the door, locked it, and lay back down, but the disturbance was not finished.
Believe this. Let me turn the lights on. I've heard that car come back. And it's what? 2:45 now. That van's come back. Well, that car's come back. That 4x4 vehicle. I can't hear anyone. I can't hear anyone talking outside. There we go. There we go. Right. I literally haven't slept. This. I am going home. They've driven off again. I didn't even look out. I just peered through my curtains, and it's driven off again. I don't know if this is anywhere I shouldn't be parked, but I'm going. I'm not staying here anymore.
He soon woke again to sharp knocking on the van door. This time it was louder and more controlled. The same car had returned. The knocking was slow, firm, and deliberate, not random, and not accidental. At that moment, Rick realized something important. The situation felt intentional. It seemed as though whoever was outside was testing him, waiting for a reaction. Rick chose not to open the door. He did not look outside. Instead, he stayed completely still, barely breathing, trusting his instincts. After several long and tense minutes, the vehicle reversed again and disappeared into the darkness. But the uneasy feeling remained. The repeated visits did not seem accidental. They felt planned. Then there was the earlier sighting of the figure in black, who had vanished silently in the woods. Rick could not ignore the possibility that the two events might somehow be connected. Nothing about the sequence of events felt random. The The disappearance of the figure had already seemed strange, and the repeated knocking in the middle of the night made the situation feel far more serious than he had first believed. A realization slowly formed in his mind. If he had opened that door, the situation might have escalated quickly. The forest was isolated, there was no one nearby, and no immediate help was available. The risk was real. With adrenaline still running through him, Rick made his decision. He quietly started the engine. The headlights cut through the trees as he drove away from the woodland, leaving the darkness behind. What was meant to be a peaceful escape into nature had turned into a chilling and unresolved mystery. Strange moments can happen in quiet places, and not everything can be explained right away. If you were alone in that van and heard those knocks in the dark, would you have opened the door or stayed silent and waited for morning? On June 3, 2018, Luis Roldan was near Volcán de Fuego in Guatemala, one of the most active volcanoes in the world. Located about 27 miles from Guatemala City, the area is frequently visited by hikers and campers exploring the surrounding landscape. That day, Louis was simply walking along the side of the road when a sudden thunderous explosion echoed through the air. At first, he noticed a small plume of smoke and assumed it was only a minor eruption. He pulled out his camera and began recording. What initially seemed like a routine moment quickly became a dangerous survival situation. The volcanic ash began spreading rapidly, growing thicker and heavier as it covered the surrounding area. Visibility dropped, and Louis struggled to remain safe as the situation intensified.
Corran, corran. Eso es ahí Ala, miren, ala, sí, lo bastante. Híjole, pero aquí no llega. Hoy sí se pasó del... Sí, se pasó de veras, miren. Ahí viene, ahí viene. Híjole, el humo, sí, no. Híjole, están temblando los... ¡Vámonos! ¡Vámonos! ¡Tapen, la tapen! ¡Vámonos! ¡Vamos! ¡Dale! ¡A un lado! ¡A un lado! ¡Despacio, Simón! ¡Dale despacio, hombre, que el carro no nos alcanza! ¡No la... ¡La rampa!
For a brief moment, he stayed where he was, believing the ash cloud might not reach him, but the eruption was expanding far faster than anyone expected. People nearby had already begun running, trying to escape the spreading danger. Then several cars speeding away from the area suddenly stopped and picked him up. They managed to drive him away just in time. As they escaped, Louis looked back and saw a massive cloud of ash rising behind them. Ash this dense is extremely dangerous to breathe, and being so close to the eruption, it was likely extremely hot as well. Thankfully, the people who stopped to help did not leave anyone behind. Even so, the disaster claimed nearly 200 lives. For hikers and campers exploring areas near active volcanoes, early warning signs can be easy to overlook. If you saw a cloud like that rising in the distance, would you have recognized the danger and run in time? The YouTube channel Sidestep Adventures into History explores remote forests in Georgia, and during one trip, unexpectedly finds exactly what the creator had been searching for: an old grave hidden deep among the trees.
Some of the flowers sometimes. This has the bottom part of the writing on it. Oh, yep, there it is. Mrs. Jane F. Yep, there it is. Sacred to the memory of Mrs. Jane.
He gently clears the surface and respectfully reads the name carved into the stone. Near the base of the grave marker, he notices a crushed bouquet of flowers, left by someone who once cared deeply for the woman buried there. Surprisingly, the petals still hold much of their original color. Finding flowers that appear relatively fresh at a grave more than 100 years old is unusual on its own. But while examining the inscription more closely, he realizes something even more surprising.
Her father Samuel story. I forgot how many children he had by his first wife, Winnie. And Winnie died, and he remarried Stacy Duckworth. And Stacy Duckworth and Samuel were my great-great-great-grandparents.
Wow.
So she was actually a half-sister to my great-great-grandfather.
The woman buried there, Mrs. Jane, turns out to be a distant relative of his. The discovery suddenly feels less like chance and more like something meaningful. Finding forgotten history deep in the forest can already feel mysterious. But discovering that it belongs to someone in your own family makes the moment even harder to explain. If you came across something like this in the woods, would it feel like coincidence or something meant to be found? On the Dead Appalachia channel, most videos center on rural exploration. But footage recorded on January 24th, 2026 documented a visit to an abandoned coal mine outpost. The site was once run by Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary in Morgan County, Tennessee, and the surrounding area included several collapsed mine entrances, along with remnants of infrastructure once used for prison labor. The creator hiked up the mountain during daylight to examine the location. He explained that the terrain was difficult to move through, covered with loose sandstone slat, dense undergrowth, and thick thorns. Some of the old mine openings were partially collapsed, filled with stagnant water, and likely contained pockets of dangerous air. Scattered across the area were horizontal mine entrances, the remains of old buildings, and even a guard tower that once overlooked prisoners forced to mine coal there. Because the tunnels were unstable, he chose not to enter them, keeping the entire exploration above ground and strictly during daylight.
Hello? You hear that?
For the investigation, he used an EMF reader, along with a spirit box to see if anything unusual might respond. During the session, he recorded a few random EMF spikes, and some sounds from the spirit box that seemed to resemble words or names. However, the signals could easily have been interference from the surrounding environment.
Speak to me. Are you here today, stuck here at this outpost, in this mine? Are you here with me today? Do you have a name or names? Kyle or whoever you may be, whoever died here in this horrible place, communicate with me. Say something.
Nothing physically unusual happened during the investigation. He later moved to another section of the site, hoping a change in location might produce different results.
Were you killed here? Working these mines by the guards or by poor conditions? And by the way, it's not this that's interacting with that. See, the spirit box is not setting off the EMF reader. It low-key sounded like it said warden. Are you mad at the warden for how you were treated here at this prison? About the guards in the tower who kept an eye on you?
After several attempts, he eventually started packing his equipment and prepared to leave. In the end, he walked away from the abandoned outpost with more questions than answers. Sometimes places with a heavy history can create strange experiences even when nothing clearly happens. If you explored a location like this alone, would the silence make you curious or uneasy enough to leave? When traveling far into the wilderness, it's almost inevitable to come across something unusual. A video uploaded on October 6, 2019 to the YouTube channel Mirbas Granites shows a cameraman walking through a forest near the outskirts of Perm when he unexpectedly finds something unsettling. While moving between the trees, he notices a strange structure built from sheets of plastic weighed down with wooden boards. When he lifts one of the plastic coverings, it reveals what appears to be a makeshift underground shelter. Continuing farther into the forest, he soon discovers another structure. This one is also made from plastic and tarps, but it sits above the ground, stretched between two trees. A pair of jeans hangs from one branch, a plastic bag from another, and scattered trash covers the ground nearby. Looking inside, he sees someone sleeping inside the shelter. cameraman quietly backs away. Before leaving the area, however, he finds yet another structure. When he looks inside this one, it becomes clear that someone else is living there as well, although no one happens to be present at that moment. One side of the shelter is camouflaged with branches, and clothing hangs from a nearby line to dry. It appears that a small group of people has built a hidden settlement somewhere in the forest. There's no way to know how they might react if a stranger suddenly wandered into their territory. What makes the situation even more unsettling is the location. The camp sits deep in the woods, dozens of miles from the nearest town. Sometimes the wilderness hides people just as easily as it hides animals, and unexpectedly finding their shelters can feel even more disturbing than encountering wildlife. In a video uploaded by YouTuber Ray RLC on May 26, 2025, what began as a calm overnight wildlife recording session turned into something far more unsettling. Ray, known for exploring remote outdoor locations and documenting strange moments, had selected a quiet forest trail to monitor animal activity. The area showed fresh animal tracks and almost no human presence, making it an ideal place for observation. Ray parked his SUV far from the site to avoid disturbing wildlife and hiked in with only his camera bag and basic equipment. Once he reached the location, he set up a trail camera facing the path and placed an audio recorder nearby to capture the natural sounds of the forest throughout the night.
Found a deer trail. Look where it goes. So I, parked down that way, walked up here. It keeps going on up there. And I want to look up that way up the trail. So I think the perfect spot would be right here. This good old spot. And just look straight up there. And if any deer come walking by, I'll catch them. So I need to get the trail cam and set it up. And we got her. So here's the trail cam. Got it set up. It's facing over there perfectly. But I've got a nice little treat for you guys. There's the sound recorder. Okay. So I'm going to have the trail cam going. I'm also going to have the sound recorder going. I'm going to listen to the audio first and then the trail cam. Just to see what we hear and then what we see. Because that's kind of the fun. You hear something and then see it later. But this is not going to be motion detected. Because sometimes, especially if it's small, I've got another issue too. I don't know. It's because the thing is, I have the trail cam directly on the trail. Trail cams do best at like an angle. Not like this or like this. At an angle like this. But I have this going straight up. If something's coming right at me, sometimes the trail cam just doesn't want to move for it. It should, but sometimes it doesn't. So in order to not risk that, instead I'm just going to do a time lapse. I think time lapses are more fun anyways. If something changes but doesn't catch a motion sensor, it'll do that too. And that's why I prefer that. So we're going to get this going. I'll get that going and I'll come pick these up tomorrow morning.
After finishing the setup, Ray left the woods before sunset. On the trail, he briefly passed another person, a short and uneventful encounter that still left him slightly uneasy. The next morning, he returned to check the equipment and found everything exactly where he had left it.
Oh, I think we're in luck. Nope, didn't get stolen. It's still here. Okay. There's my stuff, still here, waiting for me. In the outer quarter, it looks like it turned off. That's okay. It just means the batteries died probably not long ago. So, well, we'll see how much audio we get. It's made so that as soon as the battery dies, or right before the battery dies, it stops the recording and then dies, so you don't get corrupted or lose it. So we'll be okay. We'll see what kind of audio we got, see what kind of video we got. I'm really excited about that. Let's turn these off and take them down.
The audio recorder had shut off, likely because the batteries had drained, but nothing appeared disturbed. Relieved, he packed up his gear and went home to review the footage. Most of the recordings were exactly what he expected: deer, raccoons, and several smaller animals moving through the forest during the night. But one clip immediately caught his attention. The camera had captured a shirtless man crawling across the forest floor in the middle of the night. The man was holding a large axe, had no flashlight, and moved silently. He was not stumbling through the woods, but creeping forward slowly and deliberately. The behavior raised disturbing questions. What was someone doing in the forest at 4 a.m. alone and carrying an axe in such a remote area? The fact that he moved confidently without a visible light source suggested he might have known the terrain very well, or had a specific purpose for being there. Some viewers believe the man might have been mentally unstable. Others suspected something darker, possibly a ritual, or some kind of hidden activity in the woods. A few even suggested he might have been trying to avoid being seen. The most unsettling detail is how close the timing was. If Ray had decided to camp overnight or arrive back at the site just a little later, the two might have crossed paths in the darkness. What that man was actually doing in the forest, and who or what he might have been searching for, remains unknown. Zakaria has a strong interest in desert off-roading. He and his friends often travel to Jadu, Libya, where they drive through the desert and share their experiences online. During one trip while exploring near an abandoned well, he suddenly began hearing strange sounds coming from deep inside it. The noises immediately caught his attention. Many viewers later suggested the sounds resembled cats, which seems like a reasonable explanation. It appeared that several cats might have been inside the well, and at one moment light can even be seen reflecting from what looks like their eyes. What remains uncertain is whether Zakaria tried to help the animals or chose to leave, possibly unsure of what was actually inside the well. The idea that someone could abandon cats in the middle of the desert is unsettling. However, it is also possible that the well has an opening that allows animals to move in and out safely, and that the sounds were simply kittens calling for their mother rather than animals trapped below. Do you think the sounds came from cats or something more unsettling? A group of tourists were on a safari trip in Hwanga, Zimbabwe, observing wildlife while trying not to get too close. However, as seen in this video, they eventually approached much closer than they should have. Several elephants were standing calmly together when the group disturbed their space. One of the elephants clearly did not respond well to the intrusion. It is difficult to understand how the people inside the vehicle remained so calm. In many similar situations, people often panic or begin shouting, but that did not happen here. The elephant lifted the vehicle off the ground and nearly caused it to flip over. The moment felt almost like a warning, as if the animal was forcing them to leave and not return. It was an extremely dangerous situation. Elephants are incredibly powerful animals, and there's no realistic way for a person to fight one. Even reacting quickly would not guarantee safety. The safest decision is always to maintain distance. This is their territory, not ours. When their space is ignored, danger can escalate quickly. Would you have backed away sooner? The channel Remote Trooper focuses on exploring a wide variety of locations, including deserts, historic areas, and abandoned structures. In a video uploaded on January 11th, 2025, he investigates something unusual that eventually leads him to a strange location with a possibly disturbing past.
Finally, and you're just cruising over hills. If you can't see what's on the other side, slow down, because it could be.
He travels deep into the Las Vegas desert to examine 10 different anomalies he previously discovered on Google Earth.
I don't know if you guys can see that, but we're gonna park and go take a look. Somebody was living here or something way back in the day. Totally unexpected. I saw this from satellite imagery and thought it was an old like Chinese rock oven or something. California Powder Works, Santa Cruz. I've explained it many times, but it's what they use to blow out the mountains for the railroad. Yeah, this has a whole floor in it and everything. That railroad was completed in 1905. A lot of the stuff we find out here is from the late 1800s or 19th century. Wow, how cool is that? Some animal lives over there, probably a badger or something. Them things are nasty. You gotta watch out for them. Yeah, that's real fresh dirt. Okay, so something doesn't really live in there. It was a coyote digging. That's like an old horseshoe, right? Dude, how cool. That's super old.
After locating several of them, he continues searching and moves farther into the remote terrain. Eventually, he arrives at another site that immediately feels different.
I actually want the thing to have some power, so I'll probably just leave it on the 33s. This is a little weird. Yeah, somebody just dug down a little bit for no reason at all. Stacked up some rocks right there. That's cool. What a weird thing that somebody would build this. It's about 3 feet tall, I guess.
The location appears unusual, with several signs suggesting something unsettling may have happened there. One area looks like it was dug into a rectangular shape with a small pile of rocks placed nearby as a marker. At first, nothing seems clearly suspicious, But the next discovery changes that impression.
Oh, that's a really old belt. Oh, it's gator skin. Dude, what? I just found an old gator skin belt. That's the weirdest thing, isn't it? Yeah, it's right next to this clothing here. It's like an old jacket of some sort. Really see any tags on it or anything. Oh, it's covered in blood. Look at that. Wow. Yep, that's what that is. Super bloody jeans. Let me know if you guys think I should report that. Those jeans looked pretty old, at least a couple of decades, but they could possibly be much older. I don't really know what to do in a situation like that. I don't want to waste everybody's time, but at the same time, it's part of the video and I don't want to do the wrong thing. So leave a comment if I'm out of line for just leaving the bloody jeans sitting there and continuing on with my day. So
He finds a pair of jeans that appear very old, possibly several decades in age. Nearby, he also notices a gator skin belt buckle and jeans that appear to have bloodstains. These items sit beside what looks like a shallow grave outlined with stones. When all of these details are viewed together, the scene strongly resembles a possible crime site. The belt and jeans may have belonged to the person who could be buried there. There's not just one clue suggesting this, but several, and that combination makes the situation difficult to ignore. Because of this, the possibility that a body could be present becomes a serious concern, raising the question of whether authorities should have been contacted. The desert is known for criminal activity in some areas, so it would not be surprising if this location were connected to one of those cases. All of these signs suggest the discovery may not be random and could point to a real crime scene. If you came across something like this in the middle of the desert, would you walk away or report it? The Exploring with Bear team traveled late at night into a remote desert region near the Mexican border. The video was uploaded on July 17th, 2024. While moving carefully through the rocky terrain, they began noticing unusual formations and small holes scattered across the ground, which prompted them to stop and examine the area more closely.
Oh, look at this one. Nothing going on. I'm going to be chucking rocks.
Oh my gosh.
Look at this hole. This is weird. It's like people's been here digging. These are like dug holes. Look at this hole.
You and your fascination with holes.
Yeah. I love them. Look at this one. Whoa. What is doing this?
An animal?
There's tracks in here.
Jerry, don't go in there.
There's a lizard just went scooting up in there.
Oh my gosh.
Not long after, they started hearing unfamiliar sounds coming from somewhere in the darkness. At the same time, they'd noticed subtle movement around them.
Did you hear? Oh, there's sort of a little hole. See these all little weird things all over? What is going on? Whoa.
Come on, Jerry, let's go back, please.
Where'd you hear it from? Over here?
I didn't hear it. I saw it. I saw it move.
You saw it move? Over here?
Yes.
Well, let me go first then. Oh, let's look. Where'd you see it? Where'd you see it?
Right there.
Right here?
Moved that way.
It moved coming down here? Like where we're going?
Yeah, to the right.
The noises seemed to follow their path as they slowly began heading back toward their vehicle.
Ooh, did I just see eyes? I heard that. Did you hear that? I feel like there's something in here. There's something that moved in here last time we was here. That's right. Right in this thing. Right in there somewhere. Can see houses out there in the distance now. So we're getting back to where we need to be. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, hold on, Duber. Hold on, what was that?
Jerry,
Hold on. Hold on.
something's following us.
Okay. We're okay. Man, that's like a den. Whoa. That's like a den.
Something's in there.
Doesn't it look like some kind of den?
Or something's following us.
As they continued retreating, distant houses eventually became visible, suggesting they were getting closer to a safer area.
Oh, what? Man, we're up there pretty high right now. What is that right there? Get your light down there. Like where mine's at. I just seen something big moving down in there. Like right below there. See that edge? It's like right on the other side of that edge. Here, go. Go, 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 go.
Are you serious?
Go, yeah, there's something big right down there. Go.
Run?
Go, go. I don't know if you should run. Just go. Here, let me go. Okay, yeah, go, 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 go. It's like a big black frickin'. I didn't think there was bears out here, but that was big. And look, there's an edge. It could be right. We can't see it. Go, 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 go.
But just as they approached the car, they spotted movement beneath a nearby ridge, indicating that something fairly large might have been moving through the darkness nearby. Fortunately, they managed to reach their vehicle in time and leave the area without any direct encounter. Although the situation ended safely, the tension of the moment remained obvious. The experience suggests they may have wandered into an animal's territory or crossed paths with something that had already been watching them in the dark. If you were hearing those sounds late at night in a remote desert, would you keep investigating or leave immediately? That's it for tonight. Which moment creep? Drop it in the comments. Have your own story, share it with us, and stay tuned. The next one is even darker.